This is a traditional Tibetan prayer bowl. This right here is from the mountains of Tibet. Okay, I shit you not, I was about 12 years old. Okay, they had to put an air mask, an oxygen mask on my face when we were up in the Himalayas on a commercial train. I mean, this wasn't some sort of expedition to the peak. This was just a tourist attraction. And I became oxygen deficient. And the Sherpas are laughing. You know, their Sherpas are basically train attendants. Okay, but they're all trained the same way up there. It's a lifestyle. I digress. This is legitimately from Tibet, okay? And I think you will find that the sound signatures are delightful. I'm gonna guess that y'all did not hear any of that, because I think the way I have my my compressor set up on my microphone is I don't think it picked up a damn sound. We're just gonna get on to football, because obviously the prayer bowl isn't an option tonight. Right now we're gonna be looking at the fantasy football rankings, draft rankings, so to say, 2023 for quarterbacks. Okay, obviously there's some rookies that are going to get some playing time, so this should be interesting. We're going to start off with how the article starts off in ESPN, and that's with Mr. Field Yates.
The most pertinent question facing the quarterback position in the 2023 fantasy football season is, will there be any depth? For years, we've urged patience in your draft, understanding, believing, and usually succeeding in finding somewhere between 12, 15, maybe even upwards of 20 serviceable starting options. But 2022 saw the likes of Tom Brady and Matthew Stafford and Russell Wilson, even younger superstars like Justin Herbert, not come anywhere close to meeting expectations, begging the question of whether the quarterback position will bounce back this season. After a year like last year, it's not a bad strategy to perhaps be a bit quicker to find your quarterback in your draft and make sure that you can ensure one of those top stars. The three best this year, unquestionably, in some order, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, and Josh Allen. There are three running backs that make things interesting.
Stop it, Field Yates. You've had your time to talk. Or Brian, did you watch the lacrosse PLL? Dude, big baller, I don't know who you are, or else I'd call you by name. But no, I didn't. And frankly, I bet I would love lacrosse. But I also didn't grow up in a East Coast prep school. So no, I don't know anything about lacrosse. I'm getting distracted. But this guy, Field Yates, just said something a little suspect. Okay? And this is the kind of guy who, in high school, he was in the yearbook and he was writing about the football players, and maybe he got some stuff right, but maybe he didn't. Maybe he got a whole lot wrong. And you know why? You see his face right there? And look, I'm not trying to roast the guy. I'm genuinely, this isn't a hit piece. This isn't some sort of vendetta. But all I'm trying to say is that boy has never been in a locker room before. Maybe at the LA Fitness down the road. I mean, this dude has never had to call an audible. He goes on here and he starts talking about quarterbacks like he knows something about the quarterbacks. And frankly, I don't even remember what he said in that whole clip about anything. I don't even remember. The only thing I remember is him talking about Justin Herbert not meeting expectations. And let's be honest, it's true. It's true. I'm not trying to say it isn't true. I'm just trying to say that I didn't like it. And therefore, he got a rant. Let's actually look at the rankings now. Patrick Mahomes, number 1 on my fantasy team. No doubt about it. Josh Allen, okay, Jalen Hurts. These are all the guys we expected. Joe Burrow in the top 5. I think he's earned it. Look at a unanimous 4. I think he's earned it. I think he's got the weapons. Lamar Jackson at 5. The only reason why I say that he should even be in the top 5 discussion, and I do believe he should be in the top 5 fantasy discussion, is because of Todd Monken, new offensive coordinator. Really likes to get the ball out on screens. He likes air raid. He likes spreading the field. It's not going to be the same run-first offense. However, we might get into this a little later. Lamar Jackson actually had a press statement where he said that he wanted to throw for 6,000 yards this season. And and granted, the kid's confident. I give him that. But he sure as hell ain't throwing for even top 10 in yardage. Even top 10 in yardage. Where is Anthony Richardson? Oh, no, you guys, let's take a look. Let's take a look. It's funny enough you mentioned Anthony Richardson. They've got Anthony Richardson, okay, rookie quarterback for Indianapolis, ahead of Derek Carr, Kyler Murray, Kenny Pickett, Jimmy G, Bryce Young, and Jordan Love. What do you guys think about that? I mean, Kyler Murray? They obviously favor mobile quarterbacks on this list. Okay, Justin Fields at number 6 above Justin Herbert. Almost a unanimous 6. They obviously favor rushing quarterbacks, and I don't blame them. In a standard league, that makes sense. But how are they going to put Anthony Richardson above Derek Carr, Kyler Murray, Kenny Pickett, Jimmy Garoppolo, Bryce Young, and Jordan Love? I get that they got JT in the backfield. I get that they're going to probably run some nasty options. But I couldn't even tell you the big name playmakers on the outside for the Colts. The only name comes to mind is T.Y. Hilton, but we aren't in 2014. Pickett might suck. That's not necessarily my point. I like Pickett, so I'm not going to hate on the guy. But Kyler Murray and Derek Carr, these are guys that have proved fantasy value. Derek Carr over there in New Orleans with Mike Thomas, Chris Olave. I mean, I think he's going to be playing a lot harder now that he's out of the Las Vegas hellhole. I think it's unfair. First of all, Big Baller, I'm going to ignore that comment. In fact, I wish I had a moderator so they could just moderate you and send that comment away. Justin Herbert did underperform last season. They got him on the list at what, 7? Okay, which is still not bad. He did underperform. I mean, I had a whole YouTube short about how Daniel Jones had more fantasy points average per game, more than Justin Herbert. I'll admit it. But at least if I'm talking as a fantasy manager, I want some sort of consistency. Okay, I want a guy that I know will at least get me those 17, 18 points, you know, and at least be comfortable in that. Quarterbacks like Justin Herbert are going to get hurt on average per capita, let's say, a heck of a lot less than a Justin Fields, Kyler Murray character. I mean, I don't know about the consistency with Justin Fields. If you looked at those Chicago games, the Bear games, man, the guy was running for his life every play. You know, I just don't know how sustainable that model is. At least Lamar Jackson has proven that he can be a consistent fantasy option when the chips align. And the chips didn't align for him last season. He did have less weapons. I'll say that. I also don't think he's going to be the number 1 fantasy quarterback this season, like a lot of people might think. I do think it's crazy that they have Tua underneath. Honestly, not anybody in this list, including Daniel Jones, but Justin Fields. If you say Justin Fields is going to be number 6 and you've got Tua Tagovailoa 100% ranked down at 12, you're going to rank Tua at 12 and you're going to put Justin Fields at 6. The only thing about Tua is I don't know about his concussion protocol at this point. I mean, I'm kind of actually worried about his health. That's the only thing that's holding me back on being super bullish on Tua, because you look at the games he played last season, especially early on. I mean, this dude was a fantasy. He was scorching. I mean, look, you got Jalen Waddle. You got Tyreek Hill. You got Gesicki with the gritty. Maybe with the griddle too. Maybe he likes to cook. One more hot take. Daniel Jones wins MVP. Okay, see, Big Baller, you're what we call a troll. Bryce Young, I mean, some of these guys aren't even ranking him, but they got him at 24. Like, I just don't know about like putting Anthony Richardson so high up, and maybe I'm just ignorant. Maybe I'm ignorant. Do you guys think that Lamar Jackson can throw for 6,000 passing yards? I admire the confidence. Okay, this guy's come off a season where he's averaged 179 yards passing per game with a 61.5% completion rate. You see that recall? See the stat recall? I had to think for a second, but I was there. 61.5% completion rating, 180 yards, let's say, per game passing. And then this dude's going to turn around and say that, oh, I've got these weapons, man. I got a new contract. I'm going to throw for 6,000 yards. And I get it. It's hyperbole. I understand that it's hyperbole, that he doesn't really honestly think he's going to throw for 6,000 yards. But, I mean, I don't know what to say about it. Right here in the article, look at this line right here. Jackson has never surpassed 3,200 yards passing in a season, but he's clearly excited about building the strongest wide receiver group of his career. Signed Odell Beckham. They signed Nelson Aguilar. They drafted Zay Flowers. Great. You still need to stay healthy. You still need to be accurate down the field. You get these playmakers down the field, let's say Odell Beckham Jr., are you going to be able to give him an opportunity to make that one-hand catch? I just want to see him succeed in the playoffs. Why? Why do you want to see Lamar Jackson succeed in the playoffs? What I admire about Lamar Jackson is his confidence and his willingness to bet on himself. He obviously is confident. He obviously is willing to bet on himself. He represented himself in his contract extension. He didn't have an agent. You know, I admire that. But at the same time, he hasn't proven anything in his career. He got the MVP, I believe the youngest player to do so. Great. But as far as playoff victories, I haven't seen anything. In fact, I was physically in person at the wildcard playoff game where the Chargers eliminated the Ravens and dominated Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, if it was a fantasy outing, probably had like 7 points. You know, he had a terrible game. He just hasn't showed up in his playoff games. That's the biggest knock on him. Yeah, it is a big knock. And honestly, that's a big knock. In a league that is so focused on winning playoff games and ultimately winning Super Bowls, it is the ultimate knock on a player. Do you think if Phillip Rivers won even one Super Bowl, he would receive the amount of hate and people have the nerve and the audacity to say that he's not a Hall of Fame quarterback? You think if he won one Super Bowl that any of that talk would still be around? No, it wouldn't. Because people get so fixated on rings. Whether it's basketball, football, it's like, how many rings do you have? That's a big deal. For a franchise, for an organization, for the city of Baltimore, they don't care if Lamar Jackson one time won MVP when he was a young stud. They care about him coming on the field and winning playoff games, winning a Super Bowl in his prime, in their city, on the field, now. They don't care about stats from the past. You know what I mean? So until he proves that to me, until he goes out there and proves that he can win a playoff game, I'm not buying all the hype.